Jalen Anthony Rose. One of the most interesting stories of the last NBA season didn't get discussed very much at all because John Wall wasn't on the floor for the Rockets. He has a $47.4 million player option with the Rockets. Again, he was healthy last year, just didn't play. You'll never believe this, but he's opting in for that $47.4 million.
I would too. And as an athlete, let me tell you something. It's just like purchasing a vehicle. As soon as you drive it and put miles on it, it decreases the value. As an athlete, the more I get paid and the less I got to play, I'm going to be a lot more charged up. And when I look at a player like John Wall, a former All-Star, and we've known a lot of things that he's accomplished. He's been a 20 and 10 guy to get you 2 steals. I started to think about, where would he flourish? Right? It's one thing to talk about, him being in or out, but I'm trying to think of, where would he flourish? And I'm thinking that he would go somewhere where the coach is a proven commodity like San Antonio or Miami. I think he'll flourish in situations like that, where those guys like a Pop or a Spo can take what's considered a depressed asset and turn it into not only a rotational player, but somebody that we can, really do some things with. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the situation plays out. But, as long as they're going to keep paying them,
So I always found it curious last year why they didn't play him. Obviously, they've got a young nucleus that they want to develop, but don't you think John Wall can help that young nucleus develop and get some wins?
Well, it's one of those approaches that you feel like you're going to be able to move the player, and then you continue to grow down that path, and everybody else realizes, why are we going to trade for the player we know you're not going to use? And then you end up making a decision. We saw this with Andre Drummond. A couple of years ago, I believe, with the Cavs. We saw this with Al Horford with the Oklahoma City Thunder, where the player was basically paid not to play. But the unique thing about John Wall's situation is he had a couple of years left on his deal. So in theory, the Rockets mismanaged that.
Yeah, we're talking almost $100 million.
Correct. So if you're going to pay him $100 million not to play, then that's your mismanagement.
Does he finish this season as he did last season with Houston?
Well, there are going to be a lot of deals floating around. Don't that number look eerily similar to the Russell Westbrook number? There are always going to be contracts that can be moved, right, in the NBA. And don't be surprised, I believe, if his finally gets moved this year. And Houston got to be more motivated to make a deal.